Bluetooth turned. Bluetooth connected.
Ugh.
Try the top-rated proxies on Trustpilot. With traffic that never expires, there's expert support in minutes, not hours. Premium proxies, unbeatable prices with IP Roy.
Roland, what's up? Yeah, Chuck doesn't ink everything I do. He's just working on the comic. Like the actual sequential pages. I do kind of everything else. Yeah, he doesn't do everything. He doesn't have the time or probably nor the inclination to ink every random silly thing that I come up with. And he's got his hands full doing the actual pages to the book. Plus, I like to try to keep my inking eye at least sort of in practice, somewhat. I can't have everybody having claws. Nate, what's up, man? Kids love chains and claws. They right. Which is why. So these characters are like the 3 characters I created originally as a kid. Hence the reason the guy has Wolverine claws, and he's got a ridiculous costume that doesn't make any sense. This guy was just a ripoff of Wolverine and Punisher. This guy was a ripoff of Deathlock and Punisher. And this guy was kind of like a Spider-Man Spawn thing. I was just ripping off every cool character at the time.
From the #1 Lash and Brow Serum brand in the U.S., meet the award-winning Lash Serum Grande Lash MD. Backed by 16 years of...
Shut the fuck up.
That's what the Image guys were doing, for sure. Claw Force 5. That's actually a kind of a cool name. Claw Force 5. You just have a bunch of characters that are a bunch of cliche clawed assholes. They end up going against a bunch of guys that have guns and energy projection, and they just get slaughtered. Like, well, okay. Maybe that didn't work out so great. Claw Force 5 are the B team of the Tech Base Raiders. It could be. Kill Snap will have to lead them as well. Mr. Dan Goodwin. Daniel Gonzalez. What's up? What is up, sir? What is up, everybody? Everybody. Mitch! Everyone's drawing today, right? Everyone congratulate Mitch. He had a very successful crowdfunder that ended just a couple hours ago. He gets to make his book. He gets to have it colored. Yeah, Mitch, you get to do a commission for Dan. That's a man who collects some artwork.
When you deal with DHT internally and externally, you have two possibilities in actually attacking DHT. So internally, a natural, most effective way to block DHT is going.
Someone sane. But yeah, Mitch, congratulations, man. Glad that thing, was successful for you. It's a shame it didn't, hit $10,000 or something like that, but maybe next time. But feels like it's a pretty successful first attempt. I know. Sometimes these things just some of them just pick up and kind of catch on. I don't know. You've helped me feel better about when it's time for me to get mine going. Yeah, on Blood Force 2. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Of course, I would have been telling you the same thing on yours because I firmly believe I was like, I know you're going to be successful. But we will see. I am nervous, but excited at the same time. I know I've got at least 3 or 4 probably guaranteed contributors, but we'll see when it actually happens. Yeah, right, Mitch. Yeah, Mitch. About the same as you. You're like, I know I've got 3 or 4 people that will probably are like a pretty much a guaranteed. But yeah, Dan, if you want to do a pinup, absolutely. Gassano Tusaikal. I can't say some of these. How's it going? Ice Cream Cat, how's it going? Yeah, Mitch, that would actually be awesome. I was actually also here's a potential alternate. Because in my book, I'm going to have pinups for comics, and I was saying I'm going to have several that are fake, but I've got at least one, probably two, for books that will exist. So I was going to ask you if you were interested, if you wanted to put like an ad for your book in mind somewhere. Like it'll be one of those like this is an actual real book that's coming out. Because like I said, I've got my buddy Ginger Bear. He's got his book he's doing, and then my brother. There'll probably be a pin up for his book in mine of actual real comics that are being made to go along with the fake bullshit ones I'm making. So yeah, so that way, Mitch, you don't have to draw something new. You can have something you've already got if you want. It's entirely up to you. Whatever you would like. That would be kind of fun to have because, of course, your thing will fit perfectly with the stuff that I'm going to put in mine. So I had that in mind. I thought that would be a fun, and you've already got so many things kind of ready to go. It's up to you. Dan Goodwin's gonna get an ad for his books in mine. I guess I should just make sure while I'm thinking about it, Mitch. I mean, I don't know if you've seen every page that I've made for my book, but like I said, there's some extremely graphic, like R-rated stuff in it. And I don't know that you would mind or care, but I figured I should at least put that out there. Like the stuff that's in it for a couple of pages gets extremely adult. It's up to you, Dan. I mean, you've got books that you make like I mean, you're pumping them out like a madman. What do you want, issue 7 or something like that? Okay, all right, Mitch. I mean, I kind of didn't think you'd mind, but I got to make sure I full disclosure for anyone who's actually interested because mine is definitely not for kids. It's for man children like us. Boy, I got to tell you, with inking, I've been struggling my entire life to pull off a Scott Williams ink snap line. And I just cannot do it. And that's why it should be left up to the professionals. But goddamn, is it frustrating when you I know exactly what I want it to look like. And I am not that guy. All right, Dan Gonzalez, you'll be there. All right, I got I got 4 or 5. Hell yeah. I'm going to try and keep mine as simple as possible and keep the goal as attainable as possible because I'm just making it black and white. And I don't know. It's not going to be crazy. Should be easy enough. Hey, he said, dude, your inking got me sitting here jealous. Well, I appreciate it. It's just that ink snap, that Scott Williams kind of inspired line that Matt Banning can do, and all those great inkers. Joseph Weems. It's just getting that snap line out of it. Yeah, Mitch, absolutely. Thanks for stopping in. Glad to see it successful. If I made any difference, I'm glad that it did. I'm happy for you, man, and it's exciting to see it be successful, and we all just kind of get our stuff out there and show people something fun and different. Dan, you got a spiral commission from an artist that said he likes to draw motorcycles, so you asked for her on a dirt bike. That sounds awesome. Both hands on the wheel, and two other sets of hands got guns or swords or something. Wheels off the ground, mud flinging, heck yeah. I think this pen's dead. I just need to get rid of it. Dead ski. New pen. I'm intentionally trying to over render this thing just for the look of old over rendered Image Comics shit. But the problem is if you can't throw those ink lines like those guys, it doesn't work quite the same. Son of a bitch. Son of an inking bitch. Dry ass pens I'm using. Ugh. Excuse me.
When you think of bamboo, you probably think of something hard like this. But did you know that bamboo can be made into one of the softest fabrics on the planet?
I did not. Thank you. Bum, bum, bum. Hi, Baba.
Dear Father, sorry for this interruption, people, but my brother is asking for a request to do a heist so he can get a shotgun.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the heist on your submarine.
Okay.
But yeah.
Go nuts. Kill lots of NPCs.
He says it's fine.
Mr. Pritchard, Jello. Jello to you too.
It says now you need to register as a boss.
Okay, you have to do it.
You become like a VIP.
Mm-hmm.
You have to become VIP.
You have to become the leader of the Devil's Doo-Doo.
You already did.
The Devil's Doo-Doo. Instructing my kids on how to
I
play.
don't know how this darn thing.
I'm gonna step away for 2 seconds and go help my boys solve a video game problem right quick.
And also, by the way, guys, my brother's new to GTA 5 online. I'm not because I experienced it.
What do you have to do? What's wrong? Yes. So, administrative boss, secure service CEO.
And also, I'm just gonna be in here when my dad comes back. And also, just giving a heads up, don't forget to like and subscribe because my dad got scammed. But I'm not gonna tell the full story. And you can always change your mind later.
You don't kill your son because they did something. What's the point? Okay.
Okay, I have returned for anybody who's actually still listening. Do. Mr. Pritchard, any new artist editions we need to know about? Just in case anybody hasn't heard, there's that Facebook page where they're starting to put together the fan-made version of the Aaron Weisenfeld, who did a bunch of cool stuff for Wildstorm, in addition to a Richard Bennett one. So if anyone wants to get their hands on those very unique fan-made one-offs, you have to go join that Wildstorm Facebook page. And then I was watching an interview from Mark Silvestri recently, just, you know, an interview he did in the last 2 weeks or so. He seemed to allude that there's a kind of an artist edition for him coming. But what work is it going to be? I don't know. But I'll take anything. Even though the one that I want to see would be his Uncanny X-Men and Wolverine work. That's the artist edition that I want from Silvestri. But I'd take his 90s image work. I'd take his current stuff. You don't want to know what I'd be willing to do for a Mark Silvestri artist edition. Do you know that, Mr. Pritchard? Did they say that somewhere? Or maybe I just missed it. I kind of don't want the Batman one the most, though. Because as much as I like anything Silvestri does, and I really do like what he's doing, I kind of want his old stuff. But yeah, you see, it's fine if the inks are faded. That's the whole point, right? To see what the pages look like. I don't want, for me personally, the artist editions, I'm not interested in getting like a poster book where it's the clean, pure black and white artwork. I would take it. But I want the scans of the pages as they look, faded inks and all, like scribbles on the borders, pencils and stuff like that. A Stephen Platt artist edition could be, yeah, definitely all his. I'd like to see all his Prophet work. But yeah, Aaron Weisenfeld and Richard Bennett. I even have a microscopic hand in making the Richard Bennett one coming to life. Believe it or not. But hello, Mr. Art of the Round Table. How are you? Glad to hear you are yet another one of these artist machines that is pumping out art at a mad pace, and I just love it. Yeah, for Silvestri, his Uncanny and Wolverine stuff. So much good stuff there. And I'm sure those pages are scattered to the winds, and so it becomes quite the undertaking to track him down, as opposed to, I would guess Silvestri might just have all his Batman stuff right in hand. So it becomes an easy one. But I would also like to see, I know he doesn't like his 90s work, he said that, but I would like to see his Cyberforce stuff and the darkness and things like that. Like those Cyberforce issues where they cross over with the Wildcats. I would love to see that. Because we're certainly not collecting them for the story. But yeah, Richard Bennett and Aaron Weisenfeld. The Aaron Weisenfeld stuff that I want to see is honestly the only works of his I know that he's done are the Team 7 books, and then that Deathblow Wolverine crossover.
Since 1960, we've manufactured.
Those are honestly the only things I know that he's done comic-wise, and those are the ones I want to see.
This is the Lear Life. That's made right, made for you, made for life.
HM, how's it going? What up, what up, what up? Right, Mr. Pritchard? Yeah. I was blown away because I saw Weisenfeld's work on Team 7. I was like, all right. I liked it. You know, a lot of line work, a lot of cross hatching, a lot of detail. It was fun. But then out of the blue come that Daredevil, Jesus, Deathblow Wolverine. And it's like, who cares about Deathblow? And Wolverine's awesome, of course, you know, first-rate character, but crossing over with Deathblow, okay. But it was just a showcase of like this incredibly insane detailed art. And yeah, that opening splash page, launching his motorcycle over the hills, it just seemed to go on forever. Like, how does anybody do that? I remember seeing that and going, this is a whole new level of comic art that I've just never experienced. HM, you say it's been hard to catch my lives. You're freelancing as hell since you were fired, so not much time, you know. Well, glad you get to make it whenever you can. No, Rob, if you want to see an artist edition that is basically a museum piece, it's the Lone Wolf and Club. Who's the artist on that? And I feel like maybe I've seen a YouTube video where somebody flipped through it. Did the Kayfabe guys flip through that, or am I thinking of something else entirely? Juggernaut, Travis Charest was good. Oh, he's crazy good. Like, crazy good. He's so clean and precise. Yes, Mr. Pritchard, absolutely. Charest needs to re-release the Space Girl. That stuff is so good. Yeah, Mello, you're not sure if the Kayfabe did a review. You will check on that. They made you spend a lot of money on artist editions. The Kayfabe effect, right? But yeah, the Space Girl stuff. Like, and Travis Charest said that he did the Space Girl stuff as a need to fulfill, like, the desire to get something done rapidly, if I remember reading correctly. Because he takes so long on his finished art that he wanted to make something that he can create at speed. And what's crazy is the shit he does fast is still better than most anybody else's stuff. It's insane. I'm like, just draw like this, Mr. Charest. You don't need to do this hyper slow. You pencil it and then light box it and then repaint it and all this shit, and it takes you 4 months to produce 2 pages. Just draw fast, for fuck's sake. Unlike Liefeld, Charest can use blank backgrounds correctly. Boom, roasted. And so true. See, I don't have a problem with blank backgrounds. You know, if the main drawing is done so good, then it's like, I'm fine. It doesn't always have to have some overly elaborate background. But when it's just the default, because you just can't do anything else because you're just not good enough, it becomes embarrassing for that artist, Mr. Liefeld, not us reading it. You were stoked when you heard he was going to do a Wolverine Cap World War II. I don't remember hearing about that. That would be amazing. Seriously? How long ago was that? That sounds fantastic. Which is the opposite of working fast. Yeah, I know that Travis Charest did that thing forever ago, years ago, that took years and years to finish, and he never even finished the book. They just handed it off to somebody else. The art he did in that thing was phenomenal, but I just don't think he doesn't need to put in that kind of time-consuming effort when it takes that damn long, when he can just speed through things and it still looks beyond insane good. What's up, Ginger Bear? Oh man, Pritchard, that makes me peeved off that there was a potential thing, a Captain America Wolverine World War II story drawn by Travis Charest. Sign me up for the thing that'll never happen. Oh, that'll be awesome. Thank you. You know, if we're talking about fantasy projects that I was the most hyped up over, when it's the most perfect artist to do the most perfect thing, and this is just me, back when they had just got the All-Star line started, obviously they had the Superman line, which you got a competent artist who knew how to produce on a deadline, Frank Quietly, so you got like a incredible run. And then we got the one that should have been incredible and was fucking garbage, the Frank Miller, Jim Lee All-Star Batman. But they had Adam Hughes set to pencil, write, as far as I remember, write, I think, pencil, ink, and color, an all-star Wonder Woman. And I cannot begin to tell you, like, there's no project that I wanted more in my life than when they announced that, because that was right at my peak of like in love with anything Adam Hughes does. And I'm still basically still there. And no one draws females like him. And in my opinion, no one draws Wonder Woman better than Adam Hughes. And he does pencils, inks, and coloring. Of course, it's going to take a long time, but I'm ready to wait. And after several years, it was just like, yeah, he's not doing it. I think he said that he started several pages and got into the project, and then it got abandoned. And like, for me, my personal tastes, an Adam Hughes All-Star Wonder Woman where he draws, it's not just penciling it, though I would take just his pencils because there's some fantastic inkers that make his shit shine. But him penciling, inking, and then him coloring it, like, to me, that would be the best thing. And just looks like it's never going to happen because we're how many decades past, it seems. So, oh well, right? HM, did Batman and Robin kill the All-Star line, or did it die out for another reason? That's actually a good question. Now that you mention it, I want to say that because the Superman one finished, but then the profound lateness and profound suckiness of the All-Star Batman, now that you say it, I kind of feel like it might have been the death of the line because nothing else was coming out. And the one thing that should have been amazing, Frank Miller, Jim Lee on Batman, could you think of a better thing in your mind at the time? And then the All-Star line just went piff, you know. Juggernaut, you wanted to finish Alan Moore's big numbers? Like, you wanted to do it? I've heard of that, but I have no idea what it is. Big numbers? Not a clue myself. Let's see. But yeah, I'm Adam Hughes fan, like, to the core. He can draw anything, and he can draw it so good. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen his convention commission prices. Like, a fully rendered, like, Copic marker convention piece, I think, is like $15,000. And he sells out before a Comic-Con every time. That guy's just raking in, that money, which, to his credit, good. Like, you make that fat art nut, but god damn it, why make comics when you can make that kind of money? Big Numbers was about a shopping mall? Really? It's a familiar title, but I don't know anything about it. And if you would have given me a list of things like, what is this book about, and listed multiple things and put shopping mall on there, I would have dead last that. Sinkovich struggled with Moore's scripts. Yeah, that sounds like believable for anyone who's ever heard about how Alan Moore writes his scripts. But what would be a dream project for anybody else out there? If you could take any creators and have them do anything. Like if I can wave a magical wand and have Jim Lee do X-Men again, that would be what I would do. Because why not? I want to relive my childhood. And I do not give a shit for Jim Lee drawing Batman. Where did you find unmade Youngblood scripts from Alan Moore? I was under the impression that Liefeld kept those under tight wraps. Unless it's something else Alan Moore related. Because I know Liefeld says he has something Alan Moore specific that he has not released to the public. And I bet you he did it to his credit, being smart, to like, this is like a kind of lost treasure that no one knows about, and it's all about releasing it in the right way at the right time. Sick Pup 53.99 says dope. Thank you. Mark Millar finish a complete vision and recreation of the Ultimate Universe with all the characters. You talk about the original Ultimate Universe? Is that what you're referring to? Because I know they've done a modern version, a recent one, and I have read exactly none of it. Brian K. Vaughan took it in the wrong direction, making it not an updated world, but a whole different world. I do remember they kind of did that with the original one. Dan Goodwin, A Dream Project. Joe Mad, J. Scott Campbell, and Sam Keith doing a one-shot anthology. Yeah, I'd pick that up in a second. And you think you could almost talk him into it, because just draw a couple of pages, fellas. Just 8 pages each. But I want Joe Mad drawing Battle Chasers, and I want Campbell doing some frickin' Danger Girl. Scanned PDFs from a fax document, so while the quality isn't the greatest, I think it is outweighed by the historical significance. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd actually love to see an Alan Moore treatment for Youngblood. Once again, getting to see what the best possible versions of those characters could have possibly and probably been. Because it's certainly not what we're getting. Does Sam Keith even draw anymore? Like, I'm guessing he's alive. And you'd think that, I mean, I can't imagine somebody like a Sam Keith giving up art. But I don't ever see anything from him unless I'm just not looking in the right places. Sure. Yeah. So retired, I would understand, but I mean, I guess I'm just getting at the point of like, an artist doesn't ever have to stop drawing, and you can probably make easy, good commission money by just drawing, assuming he's still, you know, like physically able. And again, I'm just going off my own kind of thoughts of like, anybody who's a real artist, you never stop doing this. You never stop having the desire. And maybe he is making stuff and he just doesn't care to share it. It's just for him personally, which is a bummer for us, the fans. But I would understand it if he's just like, yeah, I just do stuff for me anymore. But, like, I get hopefully he's in a position where he doesn't have to create art to survive. Hopefully he's in a position where he can just do whatever the hell he wants. Never keep my goddamn rulers. Oh, that's interesting, Dan. I mean, it's a bummer, but you know, we just hope that artist is happy. My name is David and says favorite Japanese manga artist. Don't know any. For me. Be amazing to get an interview out of Sam Keith. Just hear anything he's got to say. What is that? My name is David says, tips on improving one's art. I do have just kind of a generic catch-all kind of response to that because I've heard a lot of people bring it up. There's a lot of little bits to that potential question that we could mention, but honestly, the only way you're going to get better at your art is to just keep doing it. If I've known a lot of people who call themselves like, I'm an artist and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and they don't ever draw and they don't ever create and they don't ever make anything, and so I'm instantly like, well, you're never going to do anything, so talk to me when you've made a thing. And those guys who have been around my channel a long time, they've all heard me say this, but it's just about, you just got to keep making it, and the more you do it, the better you get. Now, of course, there's little minutia to that, like get good tools, whatever, whether you do digital or if you draw by hand, have good paper and good pens and good pencils, and have a good place where you can sit and feel comfortable and relaxed and draw, whenever possible. Have a space that you're happy to be in and where you can just focus on it. But ultimately, just make it. Just keep creating. And the more you do it, the better you'll get. But if you don't do it, if you're an artist and you spend more time playing video games and smoking weed and watching porn, you're not an artist. And you never will be. You've got to sit down and make it. And you have to do it because that passion demands no less than you do it. You have to do it. Not want to, have to. And that, of course, allows for the understanding of there's life and there's work and there's, responsibilities. Like, of course, you got to find a balance. If you're a guy and you're married, you got wife and kids and all that type of stuff. Well, of course, that all factors in, but, you got to find a time to do it. I just described Dan. What? Video games, weed, and porn? But if you do all that, but you make art, Dan, so you get a full pass. You can do all that, plus you make more comics than most, I think, anybody else I know. That's, you just described me. Hey, as long as the art gets done, whatever a person does with their life, I am in full support of. Egg asks, do I draw my pages in chronology? Like page 1 to page, yes. I just have a way where my brain functions where I have to start at the beginning. I hear some people say that some artists just draw scenes or different pages and then eventually go back and do the other stuff. And in a microscopic way, unlike my He-Man stuff, there's been 1 or 2 places where I did that, like maybe once, 1 page, but I have to draw it in chronological order, because if I draw something one way that's on page 20, but then I might change my mind and then I draw it a different way on page 1, then it's not going to sync up. I just have to go in order. I just like to see it in order. Here's page 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll do them in batches. I usually kind of, when I was doing my He-Man fan comic, I would get 3 or 4 or 5 pages rough penciled and finished penciled and then finished inks, and I have 5 pages done. And then I move on to page 6, 7, 8, 9. But yeah, I do it in order. I have to see it done that way. It just works better for me. And it's kind of taking me through the journey of the story too. You know, I'm excited to get to the end. But that's just how I work. You know, whatever process works for anybody else is all that you need to do. As long as you get it done and you're kind of happy with it. Yeah, Dan, everything in moderation. That's a good point, Dan. I have to say that's me too. So yeah, thumbnail and pencil chronological. Inking, I have done that. I have, like I've said, I will pencil pages 1 through 5 or so, but I'll start inking page 5 first because I'm feeling excited and there's a really great image that I can't wait to get to. And page 2 has boring talking heads. And I'll get to those later. But yes, so Dan just refined it to the best possible version that I completely agree with. Thumbnail, storytelling, get all figured out and penciled in order. Inking, who cares? My name is David. Says, what type of art style do you prefer? Art styles that are more stylized or art styles that lean towards realism? Both. Any. All. Everything. I lean towards more, how do I put it? Stylistic realism. I am less drawn to super cartoony stuff. But the right thing in the right way, I'm into. And I'm less drawn to hyper photorealistic realism. But I can find stuff that I like. But I like stuff that's based more in reality, but stylized. Adam Hughes, Mark Silvestri, Travis Charest, Jim Lee. Yeah, Dan, all styles. Like, it's all good. You know, I don't lean towards Joe Mad type art typically, but Joe Mad I will buy every time. I was not a big fan of Humberto Ramos for a long time, but he's done some stuff that I'm like, this shit looks good. If you can see the skill, even if it's an art style that I don't particularly like, it's not what I would draw in, it's not what I dig, but yeah, I like it all. It just depends on who it is. And sometimes an artist can be the perfect artist on the wrong book, and it doesn't work. I would cite Brian Hitch as one of those artists. I was introduced to his work when he took over Stormwatch with Warren Ellis, and something about it was fantastic. And then they spun it off and went off into do The Authority, and it was perfect. And then he did The Ultimates, which was like the best version of his art I've ever seen. And nothing, and I mean nothing he's done since has looked as interesting to me as that stuff. And I think it's because of the concepts and the stories I was more interested in, not because his art has changed. But he went and did, like, he drew the Justice League for DC. I'm like, the Justice League, that's just like the Authority or the Ultimates, which is just the Avengers. It's just the premier superheroes, but none of it looked as good. Like, just some reason, this Brian Hitch guy, whose work I adored on Stormwatch, Authority, and Ultimates, like 3 series in a row, just flawless, perfect. And then I'm like, suddenly I don't like his stuff. It's just, something's not there for me. Some of that initial Mark Miller Ultimate stuff. I'm a big fan of Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis and the Ultimates. I enjoyed Fantastic Four, Ultimate Fantastic Four, enough. I think I collected it for almost its entire run. I was kind of into it. Ultimate X-Men, I think it started interesting, but then it fell right off. Like, I think they completely... The Ultimate X-Men, everyone was a piece of shit asshole douchebag that I did not like. It's like they took these characters, like when I think of X-Men, I think of the Chris Claremont version of them. There are these good, moral superheroes. And then they took them and turned them into amoral asshole pieces of shit. And I was going to say I hated them all. I didn't hate them all, but I'm like, I don't care about any of these characters. Everyone sucks in the Ultimate X-Men universe. Like, they had scenes and art and story points that were kind of like, well, that was shocking and that was crazy. But I was not into it. I thought that the Ultimates line was supposed to get rid of all the baggage of the history of these characters and represent them in a modern context, fresh from an issue 1, retaining the core ideals and the ideas of these characters that make them popular. And they did that with, Bendis did it perfectly with Ultimate Spider-Man, and I feel like the Ultimates kind of did that, but the X-Men, that was not what they did. Like, I did not like anybody in the Ultimate X-Men line. Sort of like the Absolute Universe. I've only read issue 1 of Absolute Batman, and I like it. It's just another Batman story, just told kind of different. But they retained the soul of the character, which is why I think I like it so far. And I've heard no one say anything, like, I've heard everyone talk very positively about it. In fact, I was at the comic shop today, and I was asking the gal who runs it, because she told me a couple of months ago that she's noticed like a big upturn in the American comic book industry, saying that things are selling. There's an upturn. People are buying books. Sales are doing great. And she said specifically, DC and Image. She said Marvel is sucking. Like, they are tanking. Nothing is selling from them. But yeah, I'd say that the Absolute Batman, from what I understand, they retain the core idea of what Batman is supposed to be, but just a restarted refresh. And it worked. And DC's making a killing on it. Marvel ain't got shit that's selling, and so they better get their shit together. Juggernaut, yeah, the Ultimates was supposed to just modernize it. Brian K. Vaughan took it and said, no, it's a whole other universe, and I can do what I want, make Emma Frost and Xavier former lovers. See, I'm fine with it being it's another universe. Yes, it's supposed to be, but like we're saying, I thought they were supposed to retain the good elements of who these characters were supposed to be. Like, Magneto is a villain, but we like him. We sympathize with him. And he might do evil shit, but you kind of like him. The Ultimates version of Magneto is Hitler. He's a monster. Like a soulless, horrible monster. My name is Dave. You said if you had a problem with the Absolute Universe, you feel like they're a little bit try hard with the villains, especially with the Absolute Joker. See, I don't know. I haven't got that far. I have a collection. In fact, I've got it sitting right here next to me. Somewhere. I buried it somewhere. But, yeah, I've only read issue 1 of the Absolute Batman. I like it, but I'm honestly kind of sick of the Joker. I'm just done with it. I've seen too many versions of him recently, and I'm just like, oh my God. But he is the premier villain to Batman, so how do you do Batman without having the Joker in there somewhere? But either way, and again, whether or not I like it is irrelevant. I'm just glad to hear the American comics industry is finally having some success again. And I wonder what the formula is. Like I said, that gal that runs the comic shop. She's like the owner. And she says, yeah, things are looking up, and it's been a long time. And Absolute Batman is just like, that is DC's thing. She says, we're selling out every time. We can't keep it in stock. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I love to hear that. I want comic books to be doing good everywhere. I want Marvel to be doing good. I might not like some of the shit they've done, but it doesn't mean I want them to fail and go out of business. It's not like that. But they got to get their shit together. They got to have some kind of new blood of some type. And I don't know what they could do. I don't know what it is. But the last time I was just blown away by anything Marvel did, I got to be honest, it was Brian Michael Bendis when he was doing what he did with the Avengers. That stuff was so good. And then he did, I think he was a writer on House of M. My brother just recently kind of started or finished covering that on his YouTube channel. The House of M was great. Like, Bendis just did all kinds of amazingly awesome shit that I love at Marvel. But that was the last time that I can think of when Marvel did anything that I was interested in. And it sucks because Marvel's also kind of dead at the movies. Ain't no one give a shit about Marvel movies anymore, considering the slog of crap they keep putting out. They're doing a Hail Mary with Doomsday. Bring back Robert Downey Jr. Make him Doctor Doom. Like, what? What? It's either he's not the real Doctor Doom, which is stupid, or he is Doctor Doom, but why does he look like Tony Stark, which is stupid. But I will be there, first in line to watch it. And hopefully not first in line to be profoundly disappointed. See, I thought that DC did give Bendis the keys. Bendis went over there and he took over Superman. And from what I read, I think they gave him like a $1 million signing bonus. Like, I think that happened and it didn't work. Yeah, it was a big deal all over the news when Brian Michael Bendis went to DC. He's taking over Superman. And I got a couple of them and I didn't fucking care. Wasn't interesting. Didn't work for me. So I think that DC gambled, paid him a shit ton of cash, and the payout did not show back up in sales of comics. I don't think it worked. But as far as I recall, they tried exactly that and it didn't work. Cillian Murphy to be Doom, I never thought of that. I don't know, was he ever in real contention or consideration? That would be interesting. That would work. But because I like Robert Downey Jr., but that motherfucker is Iron Man. You can't put him in the Doctor Doom suit. But they must have some kind of trick up their sleeve. They're like, we know people aren't going to accept this because he's Iron Man. But we're going to do this. They'll never see it coming. Like, all right. You got me. Go blow $250 million and make your movie, and let's see if your gamble pays off. He was a popular fan cast. See, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I like him a lot, but I can see them, again, looking at the current state of the Marvel movies and going, we can't fuck up another villain. Not that their brilliant choice to have Kang the Conqueror was a great idea. That was stupid. Like, Kang is, he's a popular Avengers villain. But who the fuck cares about Kang in terms of, like, being the new villain over Thanos? And yes, how do you even come close to replicating the awesomeness that was the Infinity Gauntlet and the Thanos story? Well, you're supposed to do you've got a couple guys. You got Doom and I think Galactus, and they kind of fucked up Galactus in the Fantastic Four. Like they kind of got it right, but it's also kind of not. I mean, Galactus is getting tripped and falling around. It's just kind of silly. Watchmen over V for Vendetta every day. See, for me, Watchmen is fun to read. V for Vendetta is not fun to read. It's a good read, but for me, it's not fun. It's like, I don't want to revisit that. You recently got V for Vendetta. It's sort of the first comic book. So are you new to comics? If you're saying you just got V for Vendetta and it's sort of your first, that's a hell of a place to start. You know, I guess it depends on what your personal interests are in terms of comic reading, because that's some heavy stuff, which to its credit, like it's supposed to be, but that's interesting. Yeah, I've read V for Vendetta the one time. I was like, that was awesome, and I don't feel the need to go back. It's about time Jeff Johns comes to Marvel. I don't know enough about Jeff Johns. I just know he's a popular writer and people like him, but I don't know anything about him. I don't think I've read anything he's done. And if I have, I didn't know it.
At Smith's Pharmacy, we make it easy to get flu, COVID, and RSV vaccine. They're available at no cost to you with most insurance plans. No appointment needed. And we're open weekdays, weeknights.
What is Jeff Johns most famous for? Someone told you what's a comic book to read that would get you into comics, and somebody said V for Vendetta. Jesus. I mean, I guess that's amongst the last things I would suggest somebody to get if you like. You want to read, but it depends on what you like. I guess it depends on what your interests are. If somebody would ask me, I'm like, I kind of want to read comics, but where do I start? My question with them to be like, well, what stuff do you like? Do you like serious, dark stuff? Do you like action adventure? Do you like all ages shit? You know, that's the first thing. that I'd kind of be asking people. Jeff Johns, does JSA, Flash, Green Lantern? Yeah, all shit I've never read. Yeah, Rebellion Punk 2000 AD. Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's why I'd like. I started out by saying that's the last thing I'd recommend to somebody. But I guess what I mean is I wouldn't jump to that. I would say, well, what do you like? Because it gets a little more interesting if somebody says, well, I've seen the X-Men movies and I've heard about them and I remember watching the cartoon, but in terms of comics, where do I start? That could get tricky. I guess I'd honestly tell them, go find the collections of Chris Claremont and start there. Or if you like science fiction stuff, I could recommend a whole bunch of Warren Ellis things. Sort of all ages, you're trying to get one of everything. Usually prefer action with a bit of horror. Yeah, that's a... Fernando, your first comic ever read was Spectacular Spider-Man, The Child Within, part 1 of 6. I feel like I should know what that is. It sounds familiar, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Back when I was younger, my brother and I, my older brother, and we were collecting all the Spider-Man titles. We were collecting Amazing Spider-Man, The Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man. It's crazy when you think about how popular Spider-Man was and is, that he could handle 4 ongoing titles when McFarlane took over his own book too. It's crazy. But everyone loves Spider-Man, and that includes me. I want to Google that. Fernando, it's got me thinking. Spectacular Spider-Man, The Child Within. These covers are familiar. I've certainly seen these covers. Spectacular Spider-Man. Who is the worst villain, Ultron or Reverse Flash? Are you talking about worse in terms of a shit character, or like a villain that's like really good at being a villain? I don't know anything about Reverse Flash because I don't really read DC, so I can't speak on that. And I've read enough Ultron that I like the character, so I'd have to default to Ultron because he's the only one I've read. Yeah, I don't know much about anything about DC characters. In fact, my video I put up today was Cosmic Odyssey, when I kind of got an explanation for the first time. You know, not that I couldn't have sought it out, but I didn't give a shit. But I didn't know what New Genesis was, and all these characters and the anti-life equation. And this book was like explaining it. I'm like, okay, I've heard of these things just through osmosis of pop culture stuff, but yeah, I don't know anything about Reverse Flash, so he can't win of who I think is a better villain, so it's Ultron. I don't think so. I enjoyed Ultron. And I like him the more time passes. I thought that... I almost said David Spade. James Spader, the guy who did the voice, I thought that worked really well. I thought the effects they did on him were really good. I'm kind of fine with the Ultron in the movie. Dan, you would think he was wasted? I've read some Ultron, but I have not read a lot. I was certainly never there for his, like, classic original appearances and stuff. You did like his potential scariness in What If. Like the animated What If, I only watched the first season of the What If. Was he? I don't remember. Was there an Ultron story in the... I can't remember. It's been, what, 2 or so years ago from the What If animated thing, and I don't remember much of it. Yeah, I can't comment on DC's Identity Crisis because I don't read that stuff, so I have no idea personally. So, unless someone else has got an opinion on it. Do you think the Beyonder will be in Avengers Secret Wars? Who knows? Marvel just got to get their shit together and make a good movie, and they seem to be struggling with that, so who knows? Some of the more crazy cosmic stuff seems to be a little bit hard for them to crack in the movies. I think I'm gonna shut it down. I don't think I've taken this as far as I'm gonna go tonight. Gone 2 hours, and that's pretty good. So I'm gonna be done for tonight. So, as always, thank you, everybody. Thanks for the conversations. My name is David Juggernaut. Dan Goodwin, of course, as always, sir. Thank you. Thanks. My name is David. I try. It's all right. Trying to get better.